a lot of people in the world are struggling, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally, and we see that even more because of social media, because we're exposed to it. But believe me when I say this, that a lot of it, a lot of what we are thinking, feeling, experiencing can be calmed down by honoring our the curiosity that we have innately as humans. For example, science advances, discoveries. And if you test this for yourself, and you might have already, during those lowest moments or low moment, if you ever just for 1 second decide to switch your mental capacity from whatever you are encountering to just for 1 second to something scientific, a discovery, maybe watching a video or reading something or even thinking about it, it just shifts the whole personality, if you will, the whole situation, the whole mindset at that very moment in time. And that can have a ripple effect, because it can then make us feel better and more in control about the situation, whatever the situation is. For example, I, like all of you, have gone through a lot of things, and for the longest time I really didn't have the right tool to address those, so a lot of these emotions kept coming back until I discovered books or something of scientific nature, or a discovery, or even philosophy, something that made my brain, who is already extremely curious as a human brain is, to occupy it with those fundamental questions. And I learned that quite early on in my life, and then I just gradually, and for that reason, the Maslow's hierarchy that I'm sure you've heard, in my opinion, is backwards. For example, the hierarchy talks about you need to address first your physiological needs and then go all the way up to self-actualization. But in my experience, I learned that it was backwards, and I didn't really pay attention to it for the longest time until one day I realized that, hey, even if and when I did not have my physiological needs met, the fact that I started from the self-actualization and that moment in time, this doesn't mean that you reach the full self-actualization, but it's that moment in time where, for example, there is an issue that is huge. If I just address the physiological needs, that huge issue that I was encountering was still there. And so it really didn't matter whether I had food or not. But when I did it backwards, in terms of starting with self-actualization at that moment in time, that is when it had a ripple effect, and I could get control of the situation to some extent at least, and then gradually pull myself out, and then learn from that, and then hopefully next time not put myself in that situation again. And the self-actualization in that very moment of, let's say, of despair or anger or abuse, whatever the case might be, was the tool that got me into that particular moment in time. Just a second, was science. reading something scientific or thinking about my own scientific work, or reading a tweet from one of my favorite professors, or even thinking philosophically, because that shift for a moment put me in the self-actualization mode, which in my opinion every single human is. We are scientists, all of us. We are here to discover, we are here to create. And that moment of shift, the tool was something scientific or philosophical that pulled me out of that rut and had a ripple effect in terms of my mindset shifting. And that is what I mean when I say science is medicine, philosophy is medicine, anything that gets the mind going in that direction. Another thing I wanted to also share is that in my mind, there is a spectrum. On one side of the spectrum of humans' mental capacity is the scientific discovery and is like amazingly positive and philosophical way for us to, ask fundamental questions. But on the other side of it, what I've noticed is people who, for example, tend to gossip, tend to really this mundane, low, level of just being petty and things like that. And that is when, during those really moments of despair, I found myself to get me away from that spectrum, from this to here, and the tool was the science. And I'm literally going through something like that right now, and I'm sitting here talking calm to you about and excited and positive. But just for example, last night that was totally opposite, and using this sort of mindset really helped me to pull out. And that doesn't mean that I'm still not upset and angry and feel despair, but it does mean that it sort of shifts the focus. And I think that all of us in the world, in humanity, have that. It's just that many of us have not discovered it, that hierarchy of Maslow is actually the opposite, it's the other way around. With that, I wanted to talk about one of Einstein's quote that has been verified. And there are a lot of quotes, I think, from him that just people use, which have not been verified. But this particular one is from the book Living Philosophy, published in 1931, that says, "The most beautiful experience we have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science." And this quite captures what I'm trying to say in terms of science or human curiosity is our savior. It's the medicine to everything because of the shift it does. And Einstein's words in this particular quote emphasizes his deep reverence for the unknown and its role in driving human creativity and discovery. And this is very important because it doesn't only pertains to Einstein, it is for us as well. It's just for us to take that moment of deciding to start with self-actualization first and then go from there. And Einstein regarded mystery not as something to fear, but as something to marvel at. For him, the unknown was the source of humanity's greatest achievements in both science and art. He believed that mystery inspires wonder, drives progress, and connects science and arts together, where both fields stem from a shared sense of wonder about the world, whether it's understanding the universe's laws or capturing its beauty. To him, the fundamental things was mystery. And why is that? For Einstein, science was the quest to uncover the hidden truth of the universe. He often likened scientists to children exploring a vast unknown library, captivated by its secrets, but unable to fully grasp its creator's intentions. And believe me when I say this, that every single scientist feels like a child, that you are very curious, you ask a lot of questions, yet you are frustrated because you don't have the full answer. And mystery also played a central role in the way in which he explained art. And also, in essence, Einstein saw mystery as the seed from which both logical inquiry and creative expressions grow. Einstein considered the sense of mystery not just an intellectual curiosity, but an emotional experience. He once remarked, "The eternal mystery of the world is its comprehensibility. The fact that it is comprehensible is a miracle." This reflects his awe at the fact that humans can even begin to understand the universe. Despite its complexity, the cosmos operates according to discernible laws, which he saw as both astonishing and humbling. The quote also ties his own approach to life, where he valued curiosity, when he famously said, "I have no special talent. I'm only passionately curious." And his curiosity was fueled by the mysteries he encountered. And let's move back in time to when he lived. I mean, he lived during a very tumultuous time where all the wars and everything was going on. And so for him, it would have been extremely easy to go to this part of the spectrum that we talked about, where a lot of people are in, complaining and gossiping and just being angry and all those stuff. But he chose to live most of his time on this part of the spectrum, where you funnel those anger or emotions into the curiosity that we people are as humans. And look what he discovered, what he did. At least that's what I'm trying to do as well when I go through all these stuff that are going on. And Einstein's fascination with the unknown was central to his development of relativity. At this time, physics was grappling with contradictions between Newton's mechanics and Maxwell's equations on electromagnetism, for instance. But this inconsistency presented a profound mystery for Einstein, where he asked, how could both sets of laws be correct? Rather than ignoring or patching these contradictions, Einstein embraced the mystery as an opportunity to rethink fundamental assumptions about the universe. His thought experiments, for example, imagining what it would be like to ride on a beam of light, allowed him to question long-held beliefs about the nature of time and space. He realized that time and space are not fixed, and the speed of light is a universal constant, unchanging regardless of the observer's motion. This radical rethinking of time and space and motion resolved the mystery, giving birth to the special theory of relativity in 1905. Einstein's approach exemplified his belief in the beauty of mystery. Each solution opened new questions, keeping the cycle of discovery alive. And that's exactly how science works. A lot of people think that science is finite. When we publish something, that is the way it is and it should be. But no, every single scientific paper that you read, at the bottom of it, they come up with additional questions. They say, yeah, we answered this, but now we're asking this for future research. So it's a never ending beautiful journey, so to speak, that keep us all sane in this unsane world. And then he also talked about intuition and imagination. Before equations, imaginations was key. That's what he was thinking. His thought experiments often preceded mathematical formalization, showing his willingness to sit with and explore the unknown. And also, famously, he once said that the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. He viewed questions as more valuable than answers because they lead to exploration and even more growth. And Einstein's philosophy was also extremely important in that it resonates with a lot of us thinking in a philosophical matter. For example, even though we're not scientists, all of us, we do have a lot of philosophical questions, and in my opinion, that's also what gives birth to a lot of us questioning the world and such. But I think the majority of us may be going it the wrong way in that we let really negative emotion overshadow it. And in my own example, because I can only talk about my own experience, is that is when I let these, for example, negative emotion play out for a long, let's say one night of anger, despair, whatever. But then I immediately try to shift it and get that anger and shift it toward something that is more something that I can build upon, whether it's my scientific work or otherwise. Now, I'm not saying that this is the right way. What I'm trying to say is that the way in which, and that is when every time you see a person who's extremely successful in their life, whether it's financially or scientifically or anything they've achieved in their lives, if you pay attention or if they're honest with you, the way in which they have really solved those issues in their darkest moment is through this shift, where exactly the way Einstein also explains to us, in that they stick with the curiosity that they are innately born with, and they continue with that path, whatever that is, and then they build upon it. A scientist continues on the path of asking questions and keep researching. A financial person, successful person, ask the questions and stay away from, or at least they pull themselves out of the rut, at least for 1 second or 1 moment, and then they channel that into becoming even more successful, because they're asking even more questions, they're making even more connections, it's like a growth involved. And so in this channel we particularly talk about science, but that the Maslow's hierarchy, the switch of the order, is relevant and accurate to any field in this world, to any discipline. That's all I had for today. All right, so as always, like, share, and subscribe to increase the engagement of this channel. Thanks. Bye.